Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2025 BMW M240i. Huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Charlotte for providing this coupe for me today. Take a look at their website, that link is down in the description. This 240 is finished off in Zandvoort blue, which is not a new color from BMW. However, it's newly offered for the 240. It also has an MSRP just under $57,000. Now this is powered by the 3-liter inline 6-cylinder twin power turbo. It's only paired to the 8-speed ZF automatic transmission, and it pumps out 382 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. Now this model is rear-wheel drive, however all-wheel drive is available. It weighs in around 3,800 pounds, 0 to 60 is just over 4 seconds. When properly equipped, top speed is 155 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 13.7 gallons. You'll expect to see around 23 miles per gallon in the city, 32 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 107.9 inches. Its overall length is 179.4. It has a width of 72.4 and a height of 55.3 inches. Now as we work our way to the exterior styling, there's not too many changes for the 25-year model. You will notice a different placement for the badge, however. So the M badge is down on that driver's side there, and we have the M Sport Pro package for this model. So it provides it with all the gloss black. For this kidney grille, these are active grille shutters, so these will open to provide a lot of cooling to the engine. A forward-facing camera is optional for this model. There's also the dark housings for the LEDs up front that have a great design to them. Parking sensors are in the lower section, and then there's even more cutouts on both sides to provide a lot of cooling. And then some very nice lines that come down the hood. Now this model also has a really nice set of two-tone wheels along with the M Sport brakes. They are finished off in red for this model, which is a nice accent. There's the gloss black side mirrors that have the turn signal. There's also a sunroof for this model. All of the window trim is blacked out too, and then there's some really nice lines that run down the side. You can see the lower side skirt there that protrudes a little bit, and then some lines that run about the height of the door handle there. And then in back, for this 240, this has a gloss black spoiler. There's also the 240 badge finished off in brushed aluminum, a dark housing for those LEDs. There's the backup camera with all the parking sensors. There's also the dual exhaust along with the gloss black and a few fins for that diffuser. Now this also has remote start, so triple tap on that lock button and you can bring this to life. You can also triple tap on that button again to shut it off as needed. And then you can use the button on the key fob or the one underneath to gain access to the trunk, where you'll notice this has a lot of space. For a two-door vehicle, this could be your only vehicle. You have a lot of cargo, and then you can even fold down the back seats as well. So pull on both of those tabs, and you can put in a lot more items just depending on what you have for the day. There's also some built-in grab handles up top, so it is very easy to close that trunk. Now as we work our way to the interior, this has a very nice door panel. You'll notice all of the blue stitching. There's the Harman Kardon for the audio, memory seating adjustments, window and side mirror adjustments, along with the trunk release, more storage, and then this really neat pattern on the back section. M is also down on the door sill, and then there's a very nice design for the sport bucket seats with all the blue stitching. These are automatic, however, there's one manual control, so you can use that for the leg support as needed. And then to gain access into the back, simply pull on that tab there, and the seat is going to work its way forwards. So that's going to allow you enough space to hop into the back. Well, you're not buying this for a full 4-seater, but at 5'10", I have a decent amount of space. There's leg room there, there's some vents, a little bit of storage right there, and then I am touching the headliner. So I could ride around town maybe for a few miles. There's an armrest. You get this large window too, but you also get the center here where you have cup holders. So you can use those if you need to, and then you can even fold down the entire middle seat as well. So while you're not buying this to have people in the back a lot, maybe you have some young kids and you still want a sporty car, you can put people in the back and you have a lot of extra cargo space. Now as we hop into the front seats, we have the flat bottom design for the steering wheel with all the brushed aluminum accents. It's even on the paddle shifters too. But let's fire this up, back up, and take a listen to how this sounds. coming back to the gauge cluster now, you'll notice on the left side there's miles per hour, and then we have some info that we can scroll through using a button over on this right side. Now we have all that content that you can go through, so it just depends on what you need to see, even pulling up the navigation there in the map. You have a G-force meter, your audio. You can also change the layout as well. So just depending on how you'd like to view that information. And then the last one is for the head-up display, where you have a standard view, you have directional to pull up the compass, sport view to pull up the tach, and then reduced is the same as standard there. You have volume, tuning, Bluetooth adjustments, cruise control on the left side. Now there's also the headlight adjustments along with one air vent. And then for the infotainment system, you have quite a lot to go through. On the home screen, you have the map on the right side, and then you have some info on this left side that you can scroll through. There's shortcuts in the lower section where you can get through all of these icons. And again, just depending on what you need to get into, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, you have a lot to scroll through. There's your climate adjustments, shortcut to the navigation, as well as your music. And then this model has heated seats, a heated steering wheel, and you have your temperature dials on both sides. Now this model is also equipped with all the carbon fiber goodies. There's air vents in the middle, along with power, volume, and tuning. When you open up this carbon fiber lid, there's wireless charging, as well as some auxiliaries and cup holders. And then you can use all these controls for the infotainment system. So you have all these shortcuts to quickly get through all of that information. If we put this into reverse now, we have the backup camera along with the sensors. Now you can opt for the 360 camera system if you choose to. You have drive and sport mode, and then park is located on the back. Now there's also traction control, parking sensors, engine start stop, and you do have a few different driving modes that you can go through as well. There's also the auto hold and the e-brake. You get storage and some auxiliaries in the armrest, as well as plenty more storage in the glove box. And then up top, there's the garage door buttons, as well as the dome lights and the adjustments for the sunshade and the sunroof. And then you have a pretty good look at visibility over both shoulders here. So really no blind spots for this smaller car. So before we get out on the road, we will be driving a different 240 on the streets. I just wanted to go over real quick in the newest version. The biggest difference is the flat bottom design for the steering wheel. Now I think that this is something that BMW probably should have done on the first generation for this car a couple years ago, but it's nice that they've included it. They've put it in the 4 Series as well. It's in the 25 M2, which I actually just drove as well. So if you want to see the M2, take a look at that video, as well as the comparison that I made between the 240 and the M2. But it's a really nice design, even at parking lot speeds here. It has good grip to it. It gives you the clearance to get in and out as well, having the flat bottom, but it's also a little bit more sporty. And with these notches here, it just gives you a good grip. So let's hop into the 240 now, a different model, and see how this drives out on the road. As we set off behind the wheel now for the BMW M240i, this is only the second 240 that I've ever driven. And like I mentioned earlier, this is the exact spec that my wife and I ordered. We decided to go with an X5 instead, if you haven't seen that collection day video, just with our needs at the moment. But this was a sports car that I was really excited for. My brother owns a Toyota Supra. This is the same engine and power plant as in that vehicle. However, in the Supra, you can also go with the manual transmission. In the 240, this is only provided with the 8-speed automatic. So it's gonna be great for my wife to drive as well, so that way we could share this car and have a very fun and practical sports car. I really wanted something that was a little bit more practical than a 2-seater, since I already own a 2-seater vehicle. And the intent with this car was to be able to have fun with a sports car and still have the backseat room for people to fit in. I am shocked with how well I could ride around in the back, around town, maybe on a small trip, but it would really be intended for kids at some point, putting car seats back there and still having the usable trunk space, but also still having some fun and taking this on back mountain roads and just enjoying the car. Now, I also wanted to buy one of these because of the platform. Like I mentioned earlier, same engine as the Supra. My brother's done a ton of content and modifications with the Supra. That was going to be the plan with this car. So maybe at some point I can revisit this car. But let's talk about just the 240 aside from that. It drives very, very nice. It's a BMW, so it's going to be well refined. The suspension is also taking all of these bumps very well. It's a sports car, so you want it to be a little bit on the stiffer side, but it still seems like it drives very nice. Shifts are also very quick too. This is the 8-speed ZF automatic, so you have one of the best automatic transmissions that you can get for this vehicle. So those are lightning quick, and it's a very nice vehicle to be in. I love just BMWs. Obviously we bought an X5. It feels very similar to that as far as the refinement goes. So it's going to be something that you can absolutely daily drive, and then when you want to, you can have some fun with it as well. It's not all that loud either in the stock configuration, but it has a nice tone to it. And from second gear, here we go. Very mild on the acceleration, but I have been in the Supra to know that this is a quick car. It has a lot more potential than what I'm throwing at it today, but of course if this was mine, we'd have plenty of content coming in the future once it's broken in. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel of the 240. There are a lot of different options that you can go with for this model. So that's one of the fun things that we had when building this vehicle, what we wanted to add, what we didn't want to add. And there's just a lot that you can go through just depending on what best suits you. As far as some of the options go, wireless charging is an option, adaptive cruise is an option, and there's even some different trim pieces that you can get over the gloss black. So I'll say this is a fairly conservative spec. We really didn't put that many options on it. So you can break $60,000 just depending on what you add to this car. So we wanted to keep it kind of conservative for the most part. Turning radius is also very good. And of course, the different driving modes are going to affect the throttle response. So there's nothing that will change the suspension or anything like that. It's just going to help on that throttle response depending on how you are driving. But this is a comfortable vehicle. It feels similar to the X5, even though it's a sports car versus an SUV. And that's what I like about BMWs. They all have very similar driving characteristics. Of course, they are going to handle differently depending on the model and the SUV, coupe, which one that you choose to go with. But overall, I think the 240 is a really good bang for your buck because of how practical it is with the back seats, which is why I wanted to get one over the Supra, because it had the back seat space. So if you're looking for a sports car, you want something that's luxury focused, the 240 is great. That is going to wrap it up though for the M240i. Once again, huge shout out to Hendrick BMW for letting me take a look at the future spec, possibly for my own M240i, but for this car in general and what it has to offer. Check out their website, give this video a huge thumbs up, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.